And I'm here with my man, Zach. What up, Zach?
What's up, Jim?
Hey, and we're here to do our Christmas deal, the Batman Santa Claus Silent Night #3. And it's pretty good. I really liked the first issue a lot. The second issue, it wasn't as good in my mind, but you did have that play. You even sent me the note right away of, oh my goodness, this is in continuity. You can tell, Eric, because they mentioned night terrors. And I don't know that I responded the way I was going to say. Anybody who mentions night terrors, get the heck out of here. That might be in continuity, but it's not in my heart anymore. But we get back to this issue. It's pretty good. It ends up where we're coming towards the end, and you have the big battle against Krampus, and it's pretty much all hands on deck. I saw some people arguing that they didn't like it because there's too many characters, but it makes it feel like an event to me.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind there being a lot more characters. Just it is called Batman Santa, so I would have preferred a little bit more focus on Batman, but this is still cool. It should have been DC meets Santa or whatever.
It would be cool. I think you're going to sell more with Batman. And I do think also it's actually surprises me that it's not like Batman Santa something's finest. I mean, it really does play off that, world's finest kind of deal with the title.
World's nicest.
Yeah, something like that. But, Silent Night with a K, that's kind of cool as well. It's kind of funny. But when you do this, again, I know what you're saying, but you really want to, get people to see it. And you have Batman, Santa Claus. All right, I kind of get it. A lot of people thought this was going to be more of a joke than it was. It's actually such more quality than a lot of people gave it any sort of idea that it would be. And I've even had today talking with my man Gray, where we were actually doing our Grant Morrison podcast for the Patreon, and we're talking about Claus. And it reminds me, obviously, a lot of that, but it's pretty good. This is pretty good. And I think people should check it out, especially because it's on the app. But this is issue #3, written by Jeff Parker, up by Michelle Bandini and Trevor Harrison, colors by Alex Sinclair, letters by Pep Rousseau. You're more of a Deceased fan than me.
Yep.
But when you end up seeing Trevor Harrison's art now, if in this whole, lay of the land here, you have to think immediately of Deceased. And that doesn't play well with me for a Christmas story, even if you are doing darker things, because we start off where you have these ice banshees just attacking these Air Force helicopters. Crap is going down. You end up, Hawkgirl comes in to try to stop it. And it's funny because that's a little on the nose for what these harpies look like, but she even spells it out later because she yells, "Where my girls?" I never thought that her girls, quote unquote, would include Joe Mullen.
No, not at all. It is cool.
You see some characters that you don't normally see anymore. So you end up with Joe Mullins, and then Wonder Woman shows up. I liked Wonder Woman's late. She makes an appearance, but in that...
She's on the run, Jim.
Yeah, she is. I mean, you have to kind of think that during Christmas they had that little ceasefire. Now she can fight Krampus and some ice banshees. So you end up where Joe Mullen comes in, but has no idea what's going on. And really, man, what are these things? Keeps asking Kendra all these questions. Kendra has to eventually say, "I'm not a bird woman. I'm Hawker. I'm not a bird woman. I can't talk to them. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they are." And that's where when Wonder Woman comes in, realizes that she can figure things out. And she uses the lasso, which, again, you have a lot of different plays with the lasso. And in this, they can communicate with each other. And she ends up being able to see the head, banshee harpy. And ends up, okay, I'm going to do this and try to explain things. And it does spell out the deal. And she does even mention, the harpies that she's talked to, a little relatives, distant relatives, that says, your other, they'll listen to you. These crazy harpies, they'll listen to you. So why don't we take the fight back to who did this to you? And it is that because they're not normal, something's wrong. And you would guess. I mean, if I'm going to get everybody 100 guesses, you only need one that Krampus ended up doing this. So she says, we'll go back and see who did this because it says Krampus. And then they all follow her. It's the main deal. And you see, I like the cool play as you see them all flying away. And again, I'm not a huge fan of Trevor Harrison's art. And I think that, it doesn't fit the, Michelle Bandini's at all, but it's cool. I like some of the things here. And it is a kind of a vicious battle at points. So you get that play.
I like the art in general, but you are absolutely right. It does not fit the Michelle Bandini art, and overall, it doesn't fit the tone of this book, because while this book is supposed to be a little bit more serious, it's still a holiday, like, oh, we're getting to see the DC heroes team up with Santa. So this artwork's a little bit more darker and grittier for that.
Yeah, it's a little too gritty. And again, like you said, it's a darker story with Krampus, but it still, to me, wants to play out like a Christmas fairy tale, more folklore than fairy tale, but because of the way that we have this Santa. But I guess Michelle Bandini, I've been told, really can't keep a schedule. So they have to have this. It's a weekly book, not very weekly, as some might say, but you end up having that scheduling deal, and I think they needed somebody, but they might have been able to find somebody with an art style that was a little
something
closer.
more complimentary.
Yeah. Unless you're going to do some flashbacks or, hey, this is the tale, then it works. But in a scene that's actually in the deal, it kind of threw me off a bit. But we then go off to our main heroes, including Batman. But like you said, he's kind of in the mix. And in the mix is also Blue Beetle, who ends up kind of clipping a lot in this. I didn't love this Blue Beetle. He's okay, but he just kind of seems annoying. He annoys me a bit. But you have Damien there, and they end up where a portal opens up. They're there to try to figure out what's coming out. And hey, we have to find this tree. Blue Beetle, you called me in to find a tree. I'm like, listen, if Batman calls you, it doesn't matter what he calls you for. You're doing it. So just calm down. But you end up where my favorite name, and maybe for now on, my radio name in Cleveland, Peppermint John, comes out. I'm telling you, Peppermint John, with that name, I'm telling you, must be a drinker. I think he's drunk right now. He comes out of this and he's like, hey, they expect Santa. Damien sees this Peppermint John come out and thinks it's something evil that Krampus has sent, goes to attack, and I love that Batman just gives him the standing there, not even looking clothesline, so that Damien could get stopped. And he's still trying to kick Peppermint John. It's like, oh my God, like what's going on? But the big play here is there's trouble. We have trouble going on, and Krampus is releasing all these monsters, including the sea monster in Norway that Santa's fighting right now. We go off to that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool, and I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce where they're at. They're somewhere in Norway.
I didn't either, yeah.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. But yeah, so Santa's riding Prancer. He's trying to fight the sea serpent. Superman gets excited. He's like, oh, I'll help you, Santa. I'll help you. Goes and clocks the serpent. Lets his guard down for a minute because he's too busy talking to Santa, and Santa does his, the Raymond where it's like, oh, Kent, rule route 38, Smallville.
It's so funny. It's like, Judge Wapner, People's Court. The one thing I like, you said it already, Superman doesn't end up meeting people much that are like he's in awe of because he's Superman, but Santa's one of them. Like, he's such a little kid.
Yeah, so he's like, whoa, you remember where I lived? And he's like, I remember what you asked for. You asked for a new coffee maker for your mom and pa. And you talked about how you didn't like coffee, but they loved it. And he's like, I can't believe you read my letter, Santa. And then he gets eaten by the serpent.
Again, it's the little play that Clark thinks of other people but himself. So he wanted the yucky coffee maker for Mom and Pa Kent as his gift. So that was kind of cool. But then in a awesome bit of art, he does get chomped. You have Blue Beetle there because Blue Beetle comes in and it's like, whoa, watch out. And they both get chomped. And now they're like Jonah and the whale. They're in the sea serpent, and you have Kaji say protecting you from corrosive digestive juice. And I'm like, oh yeah, they're in the sea serpent. You have a weird play here of it's so funny because in this, normally you'd be fighting a sea serpent. They wouldn't really care about killing it. You would have that classic. You have it in Hulk a lot. You have it with it where they just bust out of the chest, hey, and they just come out from in and kill. But Santa and them, they don't want to kill this serpent. So they do a weird thing that I don't know that I've ever seen really. And it kind of it works. But it feels weird because they're in the stomach and then they're going to have to fly.
So basically what they do is Superman and Blue Beetle go to different parts of the serpent and pick it up, kind of like how you pick up a snake or whatever. And they're floating it up in the air, and Santa's like, all right, now we're going to take it back to its prison or whatever. So that's basically what they're doing. They're just in different parts of the snake and just basically floating it up in the air. Yeah, they're inside the
snake, and so they fly up to the roof of where they are and fly it that way.
Santa's got to give them directions, like, no, to the left, you're about to hit the tower.
They don't want to kill it, and they want to take it back. They're going to go to this place where usually you take these monster-type things, quote-unquote, and you end up freezing them. And this is where Krampus is, pretty much melding them out and getting this army and getting these monsters. And they take Peppermint John's portal. They end up going there beforehand so they can attack Krampus. And Krampus is there and, he's laughing it up. A lot of the things he says, I'm pretty much a god. You're not going to be able to hurt me. And it doesn't matter. Green Arrow's still going to just shoot arrows. The Canary Cry does get him, though. I mean, you could get things like that, but he has his staff, all these things going on. What's it called? You have just tons of characters that are there as well. And kind of the cool play where you have different ones going. But Santa ends up coming back as Superman also. They just come out of the mouth then and fly out. And Superman wanting to attack Krampus. Superman really wants to impress Santa. He's the guy who's like, I really have to do this. I'm going to take care of this. Santa's yelling to watch out. Miss Martian is one of the ones who was there as well. But Santa ends up being controlled by Krampus. And again, we're almost at the end here, but you take it from there because, again, if Krampus gets Superman, you're in big trouble.
Yeah, so Superman puts Krampus into a headlock, and they think it's like, oh, well, hey, the day is saved. And Santa's like, something's not right. This don't seem on the level. And then Krampus starts talking weird, and I didn't notice this at first, but when I went back and read it, yeah, his word bubbles had changed. Originally they were black and white, now they're white and blue. And all of a sudden, next thing you know, Superman becomes possessed with Krampus or with something. I don't know what it is yet, but Superman becomes possessed. And he starts bashing the glacier wall where the other monsters are imprisoned. And while that's happening, the real Krampus shows up and kidnaps Damien. Which, why he wants Damien, I don't know.
He just says he takes naughty children. He's pissed at Damien.
Is Damien naughty, though? Is he?
He's kind of naughty.
He was naughty.
I do like you said, they're wondering, this Krampus, this is weird. And his word bubbles do change as if he's making different versions of himself, things like that, and then he's able to pass that power along because it's kind of like that green mist, and it goes into Superman, which controls him. He does a stomp that says everybody flying, and then just starts bashing that wall. And again, he was trying to meld it. This is a little more, effective.
Efficient.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And so Krampus grabs Damien. He goes off in his portal. They're screaming about that. Santa's like, please, Krampus, come back. And then you left with Superman, who has that word bubble like the Krampus did, the other Krampus. And he just starts bashing the deal. And then you get the ending where a bunch of these, things come out. It looks like
these Norse creatures. Yeah. You have some giants.
You have some crazy flaming giant dire wolf.
You got a ogre troll thing, from Lord of the Rings.
Yep. All those. And Santa explained as they were going that then if you do look, there's hordes behind them as well. Yeah. It's not just these couple people, but he said that when he couldn't bring himself to kill anybody. So when he ended up having these bad things, guys, whatnot, he ended up freezing them so that he didn't kill them. And even at one point, they're like, you did it because they were the last of their kind. He's like, yeah, kind of. Because some of these look like multiple deals. But again, yeah, he froze them. So this is Krampus pretty much opening not just the idea that it's an army that he's going to gather, but also they're pissed off at Santa. And in a way, I think it's a kind of a cool play if they mention it or not. It's kind of Santa Claus's Phantom Zone that he did. The being frozen in there, it's just like the Phantom Zone and what Superman does with people. You don't want to kill them. You put them away in the Phantom Zone. And when people get out of the Phantom Zone, they're pissed off and they come right for Superman. That's what's happening with Santa. They're there to just, hey, Santa, we're back and you're in trouble. You have Superman saying it from above, but these guys, it's prison break and they're ready to wreck house. So we'll see how that is. And as this lies here, I don't think that our heroes could beat these guys. Looks like already too many. Superman's also has to be taken care of. If they don't stop Superman, it's big trouble. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see what happens. And also the idea that Damien's captured. So it's a crazy play. I still like this. I still think the first issue was the best. I really, really like that. But this is a lot of people I heard dropped the book after last issue. I'm like, really? Already? You just dropped it? Why would you do that? I think this gets back to cool stuff and get going. Last was really on Krampus and really, centering on that to set up that play, but we're back to the adventure deal and a big fight. So I liked it. What would you give it?
Yeah, I don't know. I'm teetering between 7.5 and an 8.
I'm a 7.5. Yeah.
7.5? Okay, yeah, that sounds right, because I do like the art, even though the Trevor Harrison art is a little bit off-putting, but I mean, it's still good. It's not bad artwork, it's just, it don't match the tone. But I still like everything we're getting. I do like seeing Superman being so happy to see Santa, like, oh my god, it's Santa, Santa's coming.
I love this way more than those anthologies. I'd rather have these little mini-series. Hey, all you weirdos, if you like comic book shows, podcasts, videos, please check the description of this video, where you can see links to all of our podcast shows, websites, all of that. And if you want to help us out for everything that we do, you can click on that Patreon link in the upper left-hand corner and check out our Patreon, where you can go right now and get a 7-day free trial to see all the stuff that we do, shows that are Marvel, DC, indie, manga, and even more. So check all that out, and I'll talk to you all later.
Weird science
is the revolution.